You're standing at the end of a long list of laptops, scrolling past the glossy ads, wondering if you're about to drop a couple $1,000s on a machine that will sit half-filled in a bag or, worse, end up collecting dust because it doesn't match what you actually need. I get that. It's easy to get sold on the headline numbers and then realize, after a week of use, that the device isn't the right fit for your daily grind. That's why I'm taking a hard look at the Lenovo ThinkPad P16 Workstation and trying to answer the one question that matters most: is this the laptop you should actually put your money into, or is it just another high-priced piece of hardware that looks good on paper? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the environment this machine is built for. Lenovo markets the P16 as a mobile workstation, a class of laptop that's supposed to give you desktop-level horsepower while you're on the road. It's aimed at engineers, 3D artists, data scientists, and anyone who needs to run heavy-duty software like CAD, simulation suites, or machine learning notebooks without tethering to a rack. That's a very specific use case, and it's important to know whether the P16 actually delivers on that promise in a real-world office or home office setting. When you open the lid, the first thing you notice is the 16-inch WUXGA display. It's not a 4K panel, but the 1920x1200 resolution gives you a little extra vertical real estate compared to a classic 1080p screen, which is handy when you have toolbars and timeline panels crowded on the sides. The matte coating cuts down on glare, so if you're working near windows, you won't be fighting reflections. The color accuracy is decent out of the box for a workstation, though you'll still want to calibrate if you're doing color-critical work like video grading. Under the hood lives a 13th generation Intel Core i9-13950HX. That's a 24-core beast that can juggle multiple threads without breaking a sweat. In practice, I've seen it render a complex 3D scene in Blender roughly 30% faster than a previous generation i7 mobile chip, and it can compile large codebases in half the time you'd expect from a mid-range laptop. Pair that with 32 GB of DDR5 RAM, and you have enough memory headroom to keep several heavy applications open simultaneously, say Photoshop, a virtual machine, and a data analysis notebook, all without hitting the swap file. The graphics card is an NVIDIA RTX 5000 ADA with 16 GB of GDDR6 memory. This isn't a gaming-grade card, it's a professional GPU tuned for workstation workloads. The extra VRAM shines when you're dealing with massive textures or complex simulation datasets. In a real-world test, loading a 10 GB CAD assembly took about half the time compared to a consumer-grade RTX 3060 laptop, and the viewport remained buttery smooth even when rotating the model. If your daily tasks involve GPU-accelerated rendering, fluid dynamics, or AI inference, that GPU is where the value really shows up. Storage-wise, you get a 512 GB NVMe SSD. It's fast enough to boot Windows 11 Pro in under 10 seconds, and applications launch almost instantly. However, the capacity can feel tight if you're dealing with large video files or datasets that easily run into hundreds of gigabytes. The good news is the P16 has an additional M.2 slot, so you can add a second SSD later without opening a lot of panels. If you're planning to keep a lot of raw footage or 3D assets locally, budget for that extra drive. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that actually matter day to day. The ThinkPad line is famous for its keyboard, and the P16 continues that tradition. The keys have a satisfying travel, the backlight is bright but not harsh, and the layout includes a dedicated track point, which many professionals still swear by for precise navigation without moving their hands off the keyboard. The laptop also offers two USB 4/Thunderbolt 4 ports, so you can daisy-chain an external 4K monitor, connect a fast external SSD, or plug in a dock for a full desktop setup. That flexibility means you can truly turn the P16 into a portable workstation or a stationary workstation with just a single cable. On the flip side, there are a few hidden trade-offs that can bite you if you're not aware of them. The chassis is robust, but it's also heavier than most consumer laptops, around 5.7 pounds. If you're planning to carry it around campus or hop between meeting rooms all day, the weight will be noticeable. Battery life is another realistic concern. With the i9 and RTX 5000 drawing power, you'll get roughly 3 to 4 hours of mixed usage before you have to plug back in. That's fine for a desktop replacement but not ideal for a true on-the-go machine. Thermals are handled by a dual-fan system with vapor chamber cooling, which keeps the CPU and GPU temperatures in the 80-90 C range under sustained load. That's acceptable, but you'll notice the fans spin up loudly when you start a render. If you work in a